Hey guys, it is Jeanette, aka Sweet Jean, and I wanted to make a video regarding something that happened to me when I was in the hospital. I wrote some notes, so I'm going to be referring down to my notes, so that's why I keep looking. You'll probably see me look down quite a few times. Um, Someone in one of my Facebook groups was showing her jaundice in her eyes, and she was referring to her bilirubin being elevated. And so I thought that I better hurry up and make this video and put it up because it has a lot to do with what she's experiencing, and I hope that she doesn't get to where I got. So what I was admitted originally, I think it was June 26th, and then I was released on July 7th. I didn't do a whole lot of walking on the first couple of days, and then the last week before I was released, I started doing a lot of walking because I started feeling weak in my legs and numbness in my legs. So when I was released, I had edema to my lower extremities, which is just a lot of fluid buildup in my legs. And then by the time I got home, I could barely walk. I sat down and I couldn't get up. I lost feeling from like my thighs down. Um, I needed help getting, I went to the bathroom. I needed help getting there, and then I couldn't get up, and nobody could help me get up. So then I was readmitted to the hospital July the 9th, 2 days later, and I came out on July 23rd. But between July 17 and July 19, I don't remember. I lost those days because I was already having trouble with my liver back since March. And if you go through my videos, you'll see um, a couple videos down that I touch on that. But I was already having problems with my liver. Um, Let me see. The hepatologist that my oncologist sent me to, he said I had abnormal labs, which is why my oncologist sent me, is because my labs were abnormal in regards to the liver. So he ordered an EGD, which is endoscopy, and that one came out fine. The reason why an endoscopy was ordered is because it can cause straining or varices to the stomach, but that came out fine. He did say that I had fibrosis of the liver, um, scerosis, non-alcoholic induced, and I had a fatty liver. And that was found out because of a fiber scan that he ordered. So I was already having issues with the liver. I was readmitted with jaundice and the edema to my lower extremities. I'm getting my notes up here. Okay, so basically, my bilirubin shot up to about a 14, and the normal for a bilirubin, if you give me a moment, I'll tell you, because I have it written down in here. Sorry, I should have put it all on one page. Okay, so if you could see here, my bilirubin, the average or the normal is 0.1 to 1.2 actually. And when I was admitted, my bilirubin was reading at a 14.1. And then that was on July 9th. And then it went down to a 10.6, then a 7.8, 7.0, 5.3, 5.2, 4.6, all the way down to a 2.9. And the normal, mind you, is 0.1 to a 1.2. So I'm still more than double the average or the normal reading for your bilirubin. So my bilirubin was high, and then my ammonia level started to rise. So basically, I had something called Hyperammonemia, which is extreme levels of ammonia in the body. And your liver is what processes protein or ammonia into urea. There's a cycle, I think it's called the urea cycle's job is to change ammonia into urea. And protein is part of that cycle as well. So my liver was out of whack. My bilirubin was out of whack, which has to do with the liver and the biles. And so then the ammonia started to build up. So I had hyperammonemia. Like I said, it was extreme levels of ammonia in the body. Um, so some of the signs that can, some of the signs are, um, there's 11 here, and I had 7 of the 11. The first 7 that I had was confusion, headaches, dizziness, feeling tired, not being hungry, avoiding protein, and behavior changes. The others that I didn't have were seizures, vomiting, growth problems, which are usually in infants who have this, and coma. Thank God I didn't have that. So basically, what can trigger the hyperammonemia are infection, physical or life stress, dehydration, trauma, menstrual cycle, and change in diet. And they were telling me I had an infection, which some doctors say when they don't have an answer, they tell you you probably had an infection. They said I had a UTI. I didn't have any symptoms. I didn't have any burning. But my urine was coming out very, very dark orange, almost red. Um, so basically what happened, or when when I was having the behavior changes, I was very combative, and typically that's not in my nature. I'm always very kind. I always say thank you. Whenever they're cleaning my wounds and they see me wincing, they're like, tell me if it burns and I'll stop. And I'm like, that's okay. It has to be done. Thank you for cleaning the wounds, even though it's like hurting me. I understand it needs to be done. Whenever any of the nurses would leave the room, I would always, tell them, thank you for being so kind to me. Thank you for being so nice. Always giving compliments. That is just me, typically, normally. Well, one day I couldn't figure out how to use my phone. And my phone, somehow I turned it off, and I thought that it was broken. And then I thought the wires, something was wrong with the extension cord and the plug, like the charger, and I couldn't figure out how to charge my phone, and I thought my phone had just died. So then I was trying to use the hospital phone, which I had used before, and I couldn't figure it out. And I thought that phone was broken. So I buzzed the nurse. The nurse comes in, and I'm telling her that the phone's not working. So she said, you have to push the red button, and then you have to push 9 and then the number. So I said, I'm pushing 9. It's not working. I need another phone. She says, you have to push the red button first. Once it's lit, push 9 and then the number. And then I kind of like said, I'm pushing the button. I'm putting 9. I'm telling you it's not working. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you hearing me? You understand? The phone's not working. Do you not believe me? So she came up, and she was kind of like, okay, that's kind of strange or odd behavior coming from me. So she grabs the phone, she pushes the red button, and she hears a dial tone, and she hands it over to me. She says, push 9 and then your number. So then I get the phone, and then I don't know, I'm pushing all these buttons. I don't push 9. I push the red button, I turn it off, and I start, kind of like raise my voice, and I said, I told you the phone's not working and you're not listening to me. So she stands there and she puts her hands on her hips, and she's kind of looking at me confused. So then I put my hands on my hips and I look at her. So then she's observing me. So then she crosses her arms. So then I cross my arms and then I go. So then she says, okay, Jeanette, we'll be right back. And the next thing that I remember is that there's a room full of people, nurses, I'm sure, and I'm yelling at the top of my lungs to leave me alone, to stop, please stop, leave me alone. Like at the top of my lungs, I'm yelling. I'm like so combative. And then all of a sudden I hear my mom's voice. Somehow, I don't know if they were on their way to see me or visit me, but they were there. And I didn't know until I heard my mom's voice. And my mom, I heard her say, "Jeanette, please stop. They're trying to help you." And then I was shaking because I had to go to the bathroom. And then they wouldn't let me go. And then, I mean, I really had to go. And then I did number 2 all over myself. And I know I did it because I felt them wiping up the bed behind me, wiping my back, wiping my bottom. And I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, in my mind, I thought they were trying to put like a suppository in, like medicine, to help calm me down. Maybe my lab showed something. I really don't know. So then I fell asleep, or I was out. And then I woke up 2 days later on the 19th of July, which was my son's birthday. He came to visit me. And I didn't recognize him. I didn't know who he was. He couldn't handle it. So he left and sat in the car. And my mom and my sister stayed in my room. And then I tried tearing off my gown because I said it was hot. And then I started yelling that the house was on fire and that we needed to get out. This is all stuff that I don't hardly remember, but my mom and my sister told me, because I told them I need to know what else I did and what else I said, because I'm going to make a video and I want to be totally transparent, and I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I want people to know what can happen, and I want people to know the signs and symptoms to look out for, and to know to be their own advocate and ask the doctor, what is my bilirubin count? What is my ammonia count? What is my red blood cell count? My white blood cell count? My platelets? Like, you have to be your own advocate. So that's why I'm telling you all the signs and symptoms and the things that I went through personally. So then my mom comes up to me and she starts to snap my gown, because they have the snaps, up here. And I told her to not do that because she was going to break my bones. And so my mom, she snaps my gown, and I said, "You see, my mom fucking broke my bones. She broke my bones. See, look, it's sticking out. Thanks, you broke my bones, Mom." I never talked to my mom like that. The doctor came in, and I woke up, and I was very dizzy and groggy. I had lost 2 days. She asked me if I knew who the president was, and I said yes. It's Bush. I said, "No, I'm sorry. I'm going the wrong way. It's Clinton." So she says, "Okay, do you know what year it is?" And I said, 2018. And I knew I got it wrong because of everybody staring at me. So then she says, "Okay." She talks to the nurse, I guess, orders like medication to still give me to help me. So then she leaves, and the next day there's a board on the wall, and it has like the date and the time and who your nurse is and their direct phone number. So the next day she comes in, she asks me who the president is, and I'm thinking, because I don't know. And then my mom says something like, "It's that idiot or that moron." And I go, "Oh, Trump," because my mom doesn't like Trump. And so then they asked me what the date was, and I remember writing down yesterday's date. And so I told her, and she says, "What's today's date?" And I looked at the board because I knew I got it wrong. I looked at the board because I wanted to see what the day was, but I couldn't read it because I didn't have my glasses on. So I was going to cheat by looking at the date that was on the board, because I still didn't know what year it was. So that was the behavior changes, the confusion, the dizziness, and the feeling tired. Not being hungry. I didn't have any hunger pains at all, and I didn't have the desire to eat. Then one of the other symptoms that I thought was really, really crazy was avoiding protein, which I was doing and I didn't even realize it. So, what they would do is they were bringing me my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And for example, like lunch, I had green beans, mashed potatoes, salad, and two small pieces of like meatloaf. So I would eat my green beans, eat them all. Then I would pick at the mashed potatoes. I would eat the cucumbers and the tomato. Then I would eat the salad. I didn't put dressing on anything because it made it taste funny to me. And then I would start to eat the meat, and then I would get like this feeling that I was full up to here. And if I ate another bite, that I might throw up. And so my throat was like not allowing myself to eat the meat. So I just figured, I haven't eaten that well. I haven't been hungry. I lost some taste. I couldn't taste food. It tastes like cardboard, or it was very bland. So, and I didn't notice that I was avoiding protein because typically, normally, I start with my veggies usually before I even went into the hospital. That's just my nature. If we go out to eat to dinner or anything like that, I usually eat my veggies first, typically, and then I go for the meat. Um, that's just me because I at least mentally feel like, well, at least I got my veggies in. And then like the next day I would have like beef stroganoff with broccoli and like maybe squash, another salad and some tea or whatever. So I would pick at the salad, I would eat the cucumbers and I would eat the tomato and I'd pick at the lettuce. Um, then I would eat the squash, then I would eat my broccoli, and then when I got to the beef stroganoff, I would eat the noodles and then I would eat the meat, and then I would stop like after a bite or two of the beef tips. So I didn't even realize that I was avoiding protein. So basically, that's another one of the things. So confusion, headache, dizziness, feeling tired, not being hungry, avoiding protein, and behavior changes. And that's all because of the extreme levels of the ammonia that had backed up that my liver couldn't process. And again, things that can trigger that are infection, physical or life stress, dehydration, trauma, menstrual cycle, and changes in diet, which is very vague. I mean, who doesn't have those? Who doesn't have that? Let me see what else did I write in my notes. As protein is broken down, eventually ammonia is produced. The urea cycle's job is to change ammonia into urea. Urea then leaves your body through urine. So there's that. A lot of the information that I got was from WebMD and RF. It's HTTP colon two forward slashes rfvicti.com. I'll make sure to cite them or to put them down in the description box because I want to give credit where credit is due. If you have elevated bilirubin, if you have problems with your liver, if you have cancerous masses in your liver, which I do, um, jaundice, and if you are experiencing any of those symptoms, please, please, please let someone know. And if you are a family member of someone who has cancer and you notice any of these symptoms, change in behavior, if they're combative, if they're not acting like their typical self and they have liver issues, please get checked right away. Please, because the worst things that can happen are seizures and the coma. And I just want everybody to be aware that this is something that can happen. And luckily, I'm out of it, but I still get foggy in my brain. Um, a lot of people call it chemo brain, but I've been off of chemo since June 24th, and I'll be starting up again. So, and today is like July, I don't even know. I mean, not July, August. I don't even know. It's like the first week of August. I'm not sure. It'll be down there. But I've been off of chemo for a while, and I still have like a foggy brain, and I think it has to do with losing those 2 days and waking up in a delirious state. That's exactly what it was. I was delirious. I didn't recognize people. I was talking funny. Oh, another thing, I'm sorry. When I did finally wake up and I was coming to this journal I kept with me every day, and I would write in it every day what I ate, who saw me, who my nurse was, who gave me a sponge bath or a bed bath, who was nice to me, who was kind to me, our conversations. So when I came to, like on the 19th actually I think it was the 20th when I started writing in my book, I was misspelling words. Like I was trying to write bone marrow aspiration, and I couldn't spell marrow. And you could see in my notes, I wish I had it because I think I tore it out, but you could see in one of my notes where I wrote it like 4 or 5 times, and I kept crossing it out like, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. And then it took me a day, half a day, to figure out how to dial. I couldn't remember my mom's phone number, which she's had since I lived here as a kid. My memory just slowly started to come back, and I'm able to spell now as I was before. But I did lose, when I first woke up, I didn't know a lot of words. I was misspelling a lot of words. I was getting tongue-tied a lot, and I still couldn't use the phone. It took me about 4 or 5 tries to finally call my son. I had to write it down, and I had to like follow. I wrote it down, and then I wrote down the steps. Push the red button, wait for a dial tone, dial 9, dial the phone number. Like I literally had steps written on how to use the phone because I was getting the steps mixed up. So anyways, this is something that is real. This is something that can happen if you have issues with your liver. I know this is a long video, I'm sorry, and I'm repeating myself, but I can't reiterate and stress enough how important it is to watch for your signs and symptoms if you have liver issues. So anyways, guys, if you have any questions, if I missed anything, please leave me a comment down below. I will try to get to it as soon as I can. I'm getting occupational therapy and physical therapy 4 times a week, and then I have nurses visits and I have doctor visits, and I'm just trying to get from being walking in a walker to walking with a cane. So I'm transitioning into a cane because of the swelling of the legs, which was the original reason why I got readmitted, was from the edema. Luckily I didn't have any blood clots, which they thought I did. They did actually 3 Dopplers. One of them showed, the first one showed discrepancies, and the last 2 showed nothing. So thank God I didn't have any blood clots. But I still have a few videos that are going to be coming out in regards to my hospital stay. And I also want to make a video shouting out a couple of nurses and a couple of other hospital employees that left a lasting impression. So I'm gonna say there's probably gonna be at least 2 to 3 more videos coming out within the next couple of weeks. Sorry, I've just been slow at getting things out. It's just that I'm so tired and drained by the time I'm done with physical therapy and occupational therapy and my doctor's visits, and you know, it just wears me out. So thank you so much for clicking on the video and watching. If you like my personality and you'd like to follow along this journey, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and click the one that says all, so you are aware or get notified whenever I do upload a video. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for coming along this roller coaster ride of mine. And so I'll see you in the next video. Okay.